Hey guys, what's happening? Stephen Howe here in another video for you. So glad to have you here. If you are brand new to my channel, welcome. We talk a ton about real estate investing, wholesaling, entrepreneurship, marketing, mindset, and a bunch of good stuff. So feel free to check out the other videos. I encourage you to consider subscribing to the channel here, where I do content very often. And today we are going to be talking about how much work is real estate wholesaling? How much work is real estate investing? So this is a question that I get asked a lot. And I wanted to do a video and break down step by step and give you some real world examples of like what this looks like. So as you're gauging your, maybe you're just getting started with real estate wholesaling, maybe you are a brand new investor, or maybe you've been at it a while, but you're looking to get better traction and better results in your business, I think you'll get a lot out of this video. So let's just get started breaking this down step by step. So let's pretend you are brand new, you're getting started, and you're thinking of like, oh my goodness, Steven, do I need to set up an LLC? I talk about this in some other videos, but let's just say for the sake that you do want to set up an LLC. I'm not saying that you have to. I have a lot of students who get started, get moving, and then they'll set up an LLC after they get their first deal or two done. So let's say you want to set up an LLC, which I've used LegalZoom, Rocket Lawyer, for around $200 depending on the state that you live in, and you want to go ahead and get that set up. So let's just put LLC here. All right. So you can go ahead and, if you're using like LegalZoom or something like that, you can go ahead and get this set up within around 30 minutes and request your EIN number and get your LLC set up. The next thing you probably want to think about is business cards, right? So when you're saying to the market at large, hey, I have a business, I have a real estate business, and I want to let you know my information. If you're networking, you're talking with people, you're letting them know that you buy houses, and you want to go ahead and get business cards rocking and rolling. And this might be a little small here. Can you guys see that? All right, so you can go get business cards set up at Vistaprint or a ton of different companies online very inexpensively in around 30 minutes as well. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start writing a little bit bigger, and then we can just go to another sheet of paper here if we need to, because I realize this is pretty small here. So the next thing is a website. So we're talking about marketing and branding. So getting your stuff set up, rocking and rolling. So let's say you want to get a real estate investor website. Now I do have another video about that, which you can see in the link above this, where I do a 15-minute video on should you consider getting a website and some different things to think about. So definitely, if that's a concern for you or something you want to learn more about, definitely check out that free video. I think you'll get a lot out of it. But the cool part is you can get a website set up. Let me get a better marker here. You can get a website set up within 1 to 2 hours. Okay. So it's one of those things that a lot of times we'll overthink and end up spending too much time getting ready to get ready on. But it doesn't need to take a lot of time, and especially when you check out that other video, I break down a really good company. You don't need to get a website, but it certainly adds validity, credibility to your business, and you can get a website set up within 1 to 2 hours, so that way it's just done and out of the way. Okay, next thing is let's use the example of getting probate leads, which probate, if you don't know, it's inherited homes. It's a very good real estate lead. An off-market lead. In fact, it's one of my #1 lead sources. It's one of my favorite leads. It's how I do large spread deals that are off-market. And again, it's probably how you found out potentially about this channel. It's one of my videos that I made 3 years ago that went viral with over 124,000 views. So I will link to that as well. Definitely check that out. The good part is when you're watching this, when I'm making this in 2018, it still works the exact same way as it worked back then. So let's say that you're going to the courthouse, or maybe your county, you're lucky and your county delivers the leads online. So depending if you're getting them online, or if you're going down to the courthouse, it's going to take, to get your probate leads, the first couple times you do it, it's definitely going to take more time. So it's probably going to take you 3 to 4 hours. You might have to split it up into a couple of visits. But once you get it down, you're going to be able to get these leads in about 1 to 2 hours per week. And then you can always outsource this as well. So even if it's locally, you could pay a family friend, a relative, a college kid, a certain amount of money, 20, 30, 40 bucks to go down, get the leads for you, sort them, heck, even do your mailings for you. So there's different ways to outsource this. I recommend in the beginning to kind of paying those dues, to kind of learning how your county works, becoming the master of it, learning these leads inside and out, frontwards, backwards, and upside down. That way, when you do train somebody, you know exactly what you're doing. You know exactly what to look for. And it is worth your time learning how your county works with probate. Again, it's been my number one lead source for all these years, and it still works. And it's only going to get more prominent as we enter this next phase of the market, with baby boomers becoming more elderly, and the millennial generation accumulating more debt. When somebody inherits a house, they're going to want to take that property that they inherited and pay off student loan debt, pay off other debt. So you want to learn probate, and I highly encourage you to check out the other video where I dive into exactly how I do that portion of my business, over an hour and 40-minute training. So I think you'll get a lot out of that. So as you can see here, we don't need to spend a time to kind of get some of the basics going. So if you were to classify this is basically getting your LLC set up, getting business cards, getting a website. These things are not an absolute necessity, but certainly, if you're trying to build a lasting business, it does make sense to get some of these things. But remember the phrase that I love, right? It's do what you can with from where you're at with what you've got. Do what you can from where you're at with what you've got, right? All right, so the next thing I want to talk about is a friendly tip. After you've gotten your probate leads, you want to take 30 minutes to sort your leads. Now, this is something that I learned early on. It saves a ton of time, and it's just going to make your life a lot easier as you're processing through your leads. So what I recommend doing, just very simply, is taking about 30 minutes or so, and let's say you come away with 20, 25 probate leads for that particular week. You want to go home and type every single lead into Google and click on every link on the first page of Google, and so that way you can do a little bit of research and find out the beds, bath, square footage, the year that it was built, and the tax assessed value, or just an approximate value. You'll also find, by clicking on the first page of Google, all the links, if the property is listed or not. So that way, when you're talking with these leads, you at least have your bearings. You at least know if it's a 2-bed, 1-bath, or 3-bed, 2-bath property, how big it is, the estimated value, or at least a ballpark, if the house is listed, if it's not, what part of town it's in. So that way, as you're processing through your leads, you already have those bearings when you're talking with people. So you can get better and better of like, okay, who am I going to spend the most time on? And is this seller realistic with what they want to sell for? And all of those things. So just a short thing there that doesn't take a lot of time. It takes a little bit of discipline to do, but it'll make your life easier as you're processing leads. So definitely do that step. The next part is to get your letters out, to get your probate letters out, okay? Now, again, the first couple times you do this, you might have to set up mail merge. You might have to get your envelopes. You got to get your printer system set up and ready. You're going to be stuffing, the letters yourself maybe for the first few weeks, for the first few months, getting stamps. So it's going to take a little bit more time. But once you get this system down, you're going to be able to get letters out the door, especially if you're doing 20, 25 leads for that week. you should be able to get these done within 1 hour, okay? All right. So the next thing is we're going to call probate leads. A lot of people just stop there. They just stop at sending letters and they're like, oh yeah, I heard about this probate thing before. Maybe I should just, send a postcard or send a yellow letter, or, I'm just going to blast out a few letters and let's just see what happens. Well, as you can see in my other free training, when I dive a lot deeper on this subject, kind of the magic sauce is reaching back out to them, calling the executors, calling the attorneys, and sending an email to attorneys is very, very powerful, and it doesn't take a lot of time. So let's pretend that you go down to the courthouse on the previous on the previous page that I just flipped up here. You go down to the courthouse, you get your leads, and you sort your leads when you get home, and you stuff your letters and you get them out. Let's say that's Monday's activity. Well, Tuesday, we're going to sit down and we're going to call, let's say, all 20 executors, okay? We're going to call all 20 executors and all 20 attorneys. And you could actually split that up over 2 days. So for your phone calls, again, it shouldn't take you any more than an hour or two. And I want you to start thinking in income-producing activities, right? Is going down to the courthouse, getting your leads going to produce you income? No, not necessarily. Is sorting your leads going to produce income? Not necessarily. But you need to do those things to be more effective in your income producing activities, which are actually mailing the letters out. And even mailing letters are not necessarily an income producing activity. If you don't answer the call when they call you, if you don't make the phone calls, then a lot of times nothing's going to happen. But those things are necessary to make your income producing activities a little bit better. So, all right, so when you do your letters and then when you do your phone calls, those are, especially your phone calls, that is going to be an income producing activity. So if you get your letters done on Monday, for example, and there's different ways you can do this. You're going to have to think critically about your schedule, the time that you have. But when you do have an hour or two, especially for those of you that are working a full-time job like I was when I got started, you might only have an hour or two in the evening. You need to already have mapped out what you're going to do. Are you getting leads? Are you doing your letters? Are you doing phone calls? What are you going to do to progress your business forward? Okay, and that's what I want to help you to think about in this video. So if you're loving this video so far, definitely be sure to subscribe to this channel. Feel free to browse the other videos that I've published. And I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Let me know what you like, what you don't like, other topics you want to learn. And believe it or not, I actually take time to thoughtfully read the comments and do my very best to respond. So I'd love to connect with you. I want this to be interactive. And so let me hear from you below in the comments. So you do your calls. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to do emails. Now this takes even less time. And you're going to basically send emails to your executors and your attorneys. And you can bust these out in about 30 minutes. Okay? So the cool part is Monday you're getting your leads. Tuesday, and you're sending out your letters. Tuesday and possibly Wednesday you're saying, okay, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to call these 20 executors or these 20 attorneys. Or maybe you want to get overambitious and you want to do both and you're going to make 40 calls. Okay? You can bust that out in about an hour or two, especially if you're doing 40 calls. If you're doing 20, you can get that done in an hour roughly, maybe just a little bit more. Same thing with your emails. So now think it's Wednesday and you've already done that much activity, right? The other stuff, the business, the LLC, the website, the business cards, again, I've had many students get started working with me. One of the things I'm very big at is working on a shoestring budget and starting where you're at. And I've had a lot of students that have worked with me that are like, Steven, my budget's tight and I don't have really a ton of extra money to set up a website or to do with these other things. And they just get busy on this stuff, right? And they go out and implement this stuff that I teach them and they get a $10,000 or $15,000 deal done within a couple of months. And then they can go reinvest into a website, into a CRM system, into a phone system, and other things. A lot of this is about getting moving, having momentum in your business, and just taking massive action, being determined to get results quickly, right? Not saying it's going to happen overnight, but if you clear the clutter and you start taking action and get out from behind the computer and get into the real world and start producing, results happen so much faster. So I just want to encourage you to do that. And I want to give you some parameters on how much time the actual action itself takes. Okay, again, I want you to give yourself a little bit of leeway, because when you first start, it's going to feel uncomfortable. You might have to do a little research. You might have to figure out the actual process, so it's going to take longer. And the tricky part where you can really fool yourself if you let your brain get in the way, and if this is a problem for you, let me know below, because I know it's tricky. You can fool yourself to think it's always going to take that long. But what you're not taking into account is that you're going to get better and better. If you keep practicing the same activity, you're going to get more fluid. It's going to feel more natural. So I just want to encourage you with that thought. All right, so now we're at Wednesday in my example here. Now, the other thing that you don't just want to be a one-trick pony. You don't want to do, and this is very easy, especially in real estate, to try to do way too many things. You want to do a couple things. You want to do them really, really well. And I'm giving you an example of how to do this with probate. Now, a nice little sweet spot is incorporating maybe another lead generation strategy or two. So let's just pretend you want to do Craigslist ads or bandit signs. Those are very common examples with, real estate wholesaling and investing. So maybe Thursday you're ordering your bandit signs and you're writing up bandit signs. Maybe Friday you are and you're doing that for an hour or so, getting those prepared and ready to put out on the weekend. Maybe Friday you're spending an hour and you're sitting down and you're writing Craigslist ads. But you're not just writing a generic Craigslist ad. You're writing 4 or 5 different variations, so you have different ones you can switch out. And you're writing an ad maybe that's directed towards tired landlords. And maybe they have that pesky rental property that they don't want. And you're critically thinking with a blank piece of paper, what's the most compelling headline I can write? How can I really speak to this tired landlord's pain point and what he or she is actually going through? And maybe you're telling a little story, you're drawing them in, you're trying to get better at becoming a better writer, a better advertiser, a better marketer, and you're giving them a strong, powerful call to action. What if you take an hour or two and you work on that ad? Maybe you write a newspaper ad. Maybe you're doing a Google AdWords ad. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to say other marketing. I recommend in this example where you spend another hour or two each day, Thursday and Friday, doing another form of marketing. Again, that can be getting a Google AdWords campaign set up. That could be writing a newspaper ad, a Craigslist ad. That could be literally calling through for sale by owner, for rent leads, right? Being proactive, reaching out to other wholesalers, networking, making phone calls, getting busy, interacting with people, asking for referrals, dropping your business cards around town. Whatever it is for you, bandit signs, Craigslist ads. Decide on 1 or 2 things and commit to doing them for the next 6 months. That's the biggest thing, is like people hop too much, and that a lot of times is going to help you to just go crazy, right? It's gonna cause you to stagnate, and it's not going to lead to results. So I want you to get really good. I have students that get all of their deals with bandit signs. I have other students who do all of their deals via Craigslist. I have other students who do all of their deals via probate. So a lot of times we overthink and we think, well, it's 2018, that stuff doesn't work anymore, there has to be a better way, okay? But the question is, who's willing to do the work? Who's willing to make decisions, to be proactive, and to get laser focused? And those are the people who are getting results, right? And then the other aspect is consistency. We can't just do it 1 or 2 weeks. It has to be, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 weeks in a row, very consistent, and then the results start to happen. Okay, so now the next part is, naturally, as we're doing lots of marketing here, there's going to be some inbound calls. There's going to be some calls coming in, and there's going to be some follow-up that's necessary. So I recommend scheduling in, in this example, 2 days a week where you take an hour and you are calling people back. You are following up. And in the beginning, you're going to have less leads coming in, but as you get more and more leads coming in, following up with people, little short check-ins, little voicemails, checking back with people, staying top of mind, reminding them of the value and the service that you have and that you provide, and painting that little picture in their mind of how you can help them. Doing that often. It doesn't need to take a long time. A lot of times I'll flip through my hot pad of hot leads and just take an hour and call through all of them and just leave them a short little voicemail checking in with them. It's so powerful. It doesn't need to be complex. And a lot of times, like I said, you can take 1 or 2 hours and implement this follow-up, and it's going to result in a huge spike in your business, okay? All right, so now we're going to talk about appointments. So now that you're doing that, you're generating leads, you're following up with people, you're making verbal offers, you're going to naturally start to go on some appointments. Now, just a fun tip that I want to give you that's going to save you a lot of time is you want to get in the habit of making verbal offers, right? Letting them know the benefits and only going on the most hot appointments, right? Only after they already know who you are, what you can do, how you can help them, and a ballpark that you're going to be at, and they're so motivated and they're willing to entertain that offer, then you want to go on an appointment. So if you do that, you're going to save yourself from driving all over town, going on 1 million appointments, and wasting so much time, which is one of your most valuable assets. So let's say you really get going with this and you have a lot of hot leads coming in, some lukewarm leads, some cold leads, you're making lots of verbal offers, and you start to go on appointments. A lot of times in the beginning, it's going to be maybe 1 or 2 or 3 appointments, really, really hot appointments per week. Okay? Each appointment should only take you about 10, 15, 20 minutes plus drive time. So again, this can be 1 to 2 hours a week at the most. And as you scale your business, it can be more, and then you can bring in people to go on appointments and to pick up contracts and to do different things for you. In the beginning, you want to do that stuff yourself, gain that experience. But again, it doesn't take a lot of time. You might have an appointment this week, an appointment next week, and you zip out there for 10, 15, 20 minutes, and you're done. So this doesn't need to be some grandioso thing. And then lastly, selling the deals. So once you get the deals under contract, of course, there's going to be some time emailing back and forth, making a few follow-up calls, sending over the contract. So there is time there invested as well. But again, it's going to be very minimal, especially in the beginning. And as you have more influx of business, that timetable will creep up just a little bit. But selling deals on the back end, I go into a very, very deep dive training on this inside of my course, The Ultimate Wholesaling Blueprint, where I basically blow open my wholesaling business. I teach you step by step how to do this. So module 5 of my course is one of my favorite modules. I take you from, them saying yes over the phone in person all the way through to the closing table. There's 13 videos. And with my students and customers, I teach them 12 marketing strategies to sell their deals very, very quickly to really good quality buyers, and to really make those buyers just be begging for more because we serve them up with such value, and with such a really good deal. So there's not I don't want to overwhelm you in this video, but I just want to let you know that if you want more on that, I'll have the link for my course below this video. And it's not just on selling deals. It's on everything A to Z wholesaling. But let's just go with the example of you put out some bandit signs. You mail out a cash buyer flyer to people who have bought in your area. You call up a few realtors. A lot of times on the back end, my students will have their deals sold within a couple of days, within a couple of hours, and they have 12 things. They have a system. Every single time they get a deal under contract, they have a system of what to do. But it doesn't take a ton of time, especially if you price the deal right, which, again, we go over in the course as far as exactly how you need to be pricing your deals so that they are large spread deals, and so the end buyer is receiving a ton of value. But right here, this is going to be 3 to 4 hours of marketing your deals. So what I did is I went back and I flipped back a couple pages here on the handy dandy easel, and I added up the max number of time here. Now, taking out the initial one-time setup of your LLC, your business cards, your website, taking all that out of consideration, and just the actual income producing activities on a weekly basis in this specific example, it totaled up to be 14 hours. So I'm just going to round up and say 15 hours. So a lot of times I get asked that question of how much time does it take for real estate wholesaling on a week-to-week basis. How much time, Steven, should I set aside? And my answer to that is about 15 hours, okay? So when you're starting your business, right, it's helpful to know that, okay, I need to chunk out this time. I need to dedicate this amount of time. Now, I could like kind of like push that down a little bit to sound better if you're really, really busy, but I don't want to do that. I want to be real with you. I want to be honest. I want to let you know, like, to actually get tangible results and not just like, oh yeah, you'll succeed 2 years from now. But if you really want to get traction, bottom line, you need to find out how to carve out about 15 hours per week, per 7-day week in your business, and dedicate that time to doing these type of activities. Now, is this the only way to do it? Did the structure that I laid out, is that the absolute only way to do it? Of course not. This is a way that I recommend, and I just wanted to get that framework rather than just saying, well, you need about 15 hours. I wanted you to see how this can actually be done in a logical way and really be done in 15 hours. So what I recommend, because there's some follow-up, there's different marketing. If you try to compile this into 1 day a week or 2 days a week, in my opinion, that's going to be a little tough. So what I'd recommend, and I know what I did, is, I worked a full-time job in the corporate world, and I'd work on my real estate business about 1 to 2, sometimes 3 hours in the evening. Not always. A lot of times it was 1 or 2 hours. And then I'd make up a little time on Saturday and do like 8 to 1 or, 9 to 2 or 9 to noon, something like that. So I think if you can spread this out over at least 3 days, that is going to help you to be able to just, it's helpful, especially when you're getting going, to sit down and say, okay, the only thing I need to focus on today is I need to get my letters out the door, or I just need to call these 20 people, or I just need to write these 3 Craigslist ads. When you have a laser-focused activity, that takes a lot of the pressure. It takes a lot of the pressure away, okay? So that is what I want to share with you in this video. I just want to give you a clear picture that you can build a business, okay? Now, the average spread deal that I personally do, that I do with my students, is around $12,500. So if you're doing these activities consistently, week in and week out, and you might not be the best at first, but you're going to get better and better and better. And the key part is consistency. Most people, just to be frank, are not consistent enough. They're just not. And I want you to be different. I want you to put your foot down, because what's on the other side of being consistent is producing the income and getting the results that you're after. And it's worth it, my friend. The sacrifice, the commitment, the uncomfortableness, it's worth it. So I challenge you, my friend, to get committed, to do this. If you get laser focused, it's amazing what you can accomplish in the next 3 months, okay? When I finally quit my job, burned my bridges, I was able to get my first $12,000 deal within 90 days. And then within a few weeks later, got a $25,000 deal, okay? It doesn't have to take years. It's not going to happen probably for you by tomorrow, but it can happen rather quickly. And I want you to have that confidence, and I want you to have the right time parameters, and I want you to get focused on the right activities, okay? So if you like this video, let me hear from you. If you didn't like this video, I'd also love to hear from you. I want you to know that I appreciate you big time. My name is Stephen Howe. Definitely consider subscribing. Check out my other videos. It's my goal, just so you know, I'm working to get these videos up daily, okay? I'm building this habit. I enjoy doing these videos. I get a ton of really good feedback. It's one of my biggest passions. So there's going to be a lot of content often. So it's going to be in the ballpark of 4, 5, 6, 7 days a week. And soon enough, it will be daily videos, okay? Last but not least, if you want more information on how to wholesale real estate step by step, how to do large spread deals, 10, 15, 20, $25,000 deals, with a shoestring budget with $0 to $200 a month, somewhere in there, in nicer areas on a consistent basis, I definitely would consider getting my flagship product, which I'll have it in the link in the description. It's called the Ultimate Wholesaling Blueprint. It's my absolute baby. I recorded these videos after working with students for the last 4 years, and them asking me questions and me recording videos on exactly how I do my business. So definitely check out that in the link in the description. I know it'll provide you a ton of value. It's the most detailed course in my opinion, and I know you'll love it. So definitely check that out. I'll see you guys in tomorrow's video. Thank you so much for watching, and have a great day.